The sound that stopped Jack Carter in the hallway was not a scream, not a cry, not even the crash of something falling. It was laughter. Sharp, careless, and echoing with a cruelty that instantly made his chest tighten. The kind of laughter that does not come from joy, but from the small, ugly comfort people sometimes find in someone else's pain. Jack stood frozen outside classroom 3A, his large frame still, his service dog Rex sitting alert at his side. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, and the smell of polished floors and chalk dust hung in the air. In his hand, he held the strap of a worn duffel bag, the same one that had traveled with him through deployments, hospitals, and long years of recovery. Yet in that moment, nothing from his past felt as heavy as what he was hearing now. He leaned slightly toward the half-closed door, and what he saw struck him harder than any battlefield memory ever could. At the front of the classroom stood his daughter Emily, small, fragile, and trembling, her crutches pressed into the floor as she struggled to balance on her metal prosthetic leg. Her shoulders shook as she fought to keep her composure, but tears were already sliding down her cheeks. In front of her stood the teacher. A ruler was raised in her hand like a weapon of authority, her face twisted not with concern, but irritation. Her voice carried a mocking tone, loud enough to ensure every child in the room could hear her humiliation. She criticized Emily for moving too slowly. She complained that the class was falling behind because of her. She asked aloud whether it was fair for normal students to suffer because one child couldn't keep up. Each word landed like a slap. Some students shifted uncomfortably in their seats, unsure where to look. Others stared down at their desks, trapped between fear and guilt. But a few laughed openly, the sound echoing against the classroom walls, amplifying Emily's shame. Jack's jaw tightened. He had seen war. He had seen destruction. He had witnessed things that haunted his sleep even years later. But war, he knew, was honest about its violence. This was different. This was cruelty hidden behind authority. This was humiliation disguised as discipline. And it was being inflicted on the one person he loved more than life itself. Beside him, Rex sensed the shift instantly. The dog's ears lifted, his body tense but controlled. His gaze locked on Emily with unwavering focus. Service dogs were trained to recognize emotional distress, and in that moment, Rex understood clearly who needed protection. Jack forced himself to breathe slowly. A soldier learns to observe before acting. A father learns when to step forward. Emily tried to answer a question, her voice barely audible. She shifted her weight awkwardly, and one crutch slipped slightly against the polished floor. The laughter grew louder. Instead of helping, the teacher snapped sharply, ordering her to stand properly, as if stability were something Emily could simply choose. Something inside Jack cracked open. He realized with chilling clarity that this was not a single moment of poor judgment. This was routine, pattern, a quiet, daily cruelty unfolding behind closed doors, while the community praised the very person responsible. This teacher was respected in town meetings, admired at church gatherings, trusted by parents. Yet here she was, tearing down a vulnerable child in front of her peers. Jack understood then that silence would make him complicit. Walking away would be a betrayal, not just of Emily, but of everything he believed dignity meant. He stepped closer to the door, heart pounding steadily, his posture straightening with quiet resolve. The morning sunlight streamed through the hallway windows, casting long golden lines across the floor. And in that silent moment, Jack Carter made a promise to his daughter. A promise that very soon, everything inside that classroom would change. When Jack pushed the classroom door open, the soft click of the handle cut through the noise like a sudden thunderclap. The laughter stopped instantly, as if someone had pressed a mute button on the entire room. Every head turned. The teacher froze mid-sentence, her ruler still raised. Jack stepped inside slowly, Rex moving beside him with calm precision. His presence filled the room without effort. Not through anger, not through noise, but through an unmistakable quiet authority. He did not shout. He did not accuse. He did not even look furious in the way people expect. Instead, he carried a stillness that felt heavier than rage, the kind of controlled calm that comes from a man who has faced chaos and learned exactly when to stand firm. He walked directly to Emily. Without hesitation, he knelt beside her despite the stiffness in his injured knee. Gently, he wiped the tears from her cheeks with his thumb. His voice was soft, steady, full of warmth. He told her she was brave. He told her she was strong. He told her she had done nothing wrong. Emily clung to his jacket, her breathing uneven, finding comfort in the familiar scent of leather and the quiet strength of his presence. Rex lowered himself beside her, pressing gently against her leg, offering silent reassurance. Only after she began to calm did Jack stand. He turned toward the teacher. His gaze was steady, unwavering. His voice, when he spoke, carried a calm clarity that filled the entire room. He asked her, respectfully but firmly, to repeat what she had just said to his daughter. The teacher stammered. Her confidence collapsed under the weight of accountability. Jack nodded slightly. That hesitation told him everything. He spoke not with anger, but with conviction. He spoke about dignity, about how real strength is measured by how we treat those already carrying burdens heavier than our own. He explained that authority without compassion becomes cruelty, and that power used to humiliate is not leadership, but failure. The classroom remained utterly silent. Then Jack turned to the students. He told them something simple but powerful. That laughing at someone's pain is easy. Anyone can do it. But standing up for someone, showing empathy, showing courage, that is what truly defines a person's character. One by one, the children's expressions changed. Shame replaced amusement. A boy in the front row whispered an apology. Then another followed. And another. The ripple of accountability spread quietly through the room until Emily's trembling slowed, her shoulders finally relaxing. Moments later, the principal arrived, drawn by the tension. The truth surfaced quickly, because cruelty rarely survives exposure. The teacher was escorted out, her reputation crumbling under the weight of what had long been hidden behind closed doors. Jack refused recognition. He did not seek praise. His focus remained solely on Emily, helping her stand tall again, reminding her through actions that she was never alone. Outside, the sunlight felt warmer. The air felt lighter. Emily smiled for the first time that day as Rex wagged his tail proudly beside her. As they walked away from the school together, Jack understood something deeply personal. There would always be battles in life, but some fights matter more than any war. And sometimes, the bravest thing a man can do is not to fight with force, but to stand calmly, protect the vulnerable, and say with unwavering certainty, "Enough."